Hi, my name is Jason Jimenez. I'm an assistant principal in Orange County Public Schools in Orlando, Florida. And today I'm going to talk to you about a project that my students in 2015 were tasked to complete as a result of asking many questions, and instead of me simply providing them with answers, decided to give them a project where they can experience it firsthand on their own. So as a result of that, this project, Project Grown Up, was born. So Project Grown Up is essentially what it sounds like. It's a project that shows kids what it means to be a grown-up once they leave the proverbial nest, once they leave high school, once they graduate. And I gave this to them with about a month's time of anticipation before the school year ended. And this really was a great opportunity that ended up being a very invaluable experience for students, what they were able to accomplish with this. So the first thing that I had students do was, as a result of this project-based learning activity, was to partner up. Students were required to be sent into the field. They were going to visit several businesses, the first of which was a financial institution. This financial institution could have either been an actual bank, a national bank, or a credit union. This one was any number of dealerships, been a dealership, or it could be a local one down the street that somebody had a dealership. The third one was apartment complex. So we got those three quick institutions for them to look at. Every student identified with a bank, financial institution, apartment complex, and an institution. So they were required to bring back, as part of their assignment, bring back literature, bring back business cards, which also served another purpose that wasn't quite evident when we actually did this. So within our area, within Orange County, obviously we have many banks and businesses and apartment complexes. Students in our area of the school, they frequent many of the same places, with the same car dealerships, the same banks, and the same banks, dealerships, and apartment complexes. So what ended up happening was this opportunity, an unintended consequence that was actually serendipitous, before we now look to and develop new relationships with partners in it. So now we have these auto dealerships that are looking at us saying, you're providing all this potential clientele to our doors. How can we support the school to be successful in your endeavors? So it was had a quid pro quo type of but it wasn't the intended. The intention was to show students what it's like to be a accomplished and well-adjusted high school graduate. But with it came, at least for the school, from the school's perspective, came the opportunity to grow our network with partners in it. So that was really important as well as this project went up. Other things and some of the objections that we got from the students was, well, hey, Mr. Jimenez, I don't have a job. How am I supposed to do this? To which we said, you have money spent on you, or you spend money on yourself at various times, whether it's going to a movie, whether it's going out with your friend. Money is spent on you, or you spend money on yourself. So this is an opportunity for you to see what it's going to take your financial game to the next level. So the students had to come up with a presentation. They did this via Google Slides. Very easy to use. I'm sure many of your students have access to Google Slides or a similar platform. This day and age in 2018, there are many platforms to use to do presentations. Google Slides was the presentation format and platform that we used back in 2015. I provided students with an introductory letter because I didn't want students to walk into a complex or into a car dealership and be cast aside as not being there for a legitimate purpose. So we do this, if you happen to do this, by think about writing yours with an introductory letter with a school letterhead that has your personal contact information on it, your email address, your school number, so that when the apartment complex manager or the GM of the auto dealership or the president of the bank read the letter, they know those students aren't there at the time or they're loitering. They're actually there serving a legitimate function as part of a large-scale project for the class. So that's the thing about it, something that I provided them at this time for this project. The rubric, here's the rubric that I used to help students guide their presentation, but also in what they were going to be graded on. So there was no confusion as to what it was that they needed to present. There was no confusion as to what it was that students needed to say and produce. So the biggest thing here was research. The research phase of this project was really important, especially going into this aspect of, let me go into this dealership and find out what it is that I need to know. What tidbits of information do I need to have to be successful on not only project but successful on this in this endeavor to be able to know that I'm going to be able to afford this car or afford this apartment. So these are just some things that you need to be aware of when kids come up with these questions. Hey, what about this? What about that? I haven't considered this yet. The rubric doesn't talk about this. The other aspect about this is going to be the contributions factor of the rubric. So what we did was, what I decided to say was, let's not have people that we know don't work well together go out into the field, so to speak, and speak to these businesses, the dealership, the apartment complex, or the financial institution. But at the same time, what we did see was the student ended up doing all the work for the entire group. So what do you do? How do you take that in consideration? Well, that is something on the presentation component piece. Everyone had to label what work they completed. So again, something to consider in terms of once you get to the grading phase. If you decide to go the same route that I did, just be cognizant of this. So this was a 200-point assignment. You have to make it worth students' while. Not only are they having to leave the comfort of their home to go out and seek information, but if you make this a small award, a small point award type of project, you're not going to get the same yield in terms of efficacy on their end you would if you make this for a substantially large number of points. Because kids are looking at this, well, the school year's done. Why should I continue to put forth an effort? Well, when you put 200 points on the table, it's gonna capture their attention. Trust me. So these two documents right here, I'm gonna switch from this one to this one. These two documents right here essentially had the students had to list out. So if I go to the dealership, I need to ask about, okay, first I need to get their signature of the person who they spoke with. Now, be prepared that some instances a bank or any of these businesses, you know what, I'm not comfortable signing my name on this document. I understand it's for a legitimate reason, a legitimate purpose for a school project, but what they did was they initial their business card and say, you have any questions, call me. I use that as, okay, you did what you were supposed to do. I can't make anybody sign a document that it's not legally required, so I took that at face value. They did what they were supposed to do, but again, if it was very helpful when the documents were signed with the phone number and contact information. So that was really, really helpful and insightful. And it also provided, again, going back to the student, provided the student with an opportunity to say, hey, I spoke with the leasing manager at the apartment complex 2 blocks away. I'd like to call him. Maybe they have a summer job opening. Who knows? So this project not only provided students and the school, as I mentioned earlier, with opportunities for partners in ed, but it also provided these students with ideas to follow up on. And that in and of itself was worth its weight in gold. On this document, as you can see, it's color-coded for students to complete, but they also have to use this as part of their presentation within the Google Slide presentation format. If you look down here at the car aspect, a lot of these kids thought that they were going to go right out of high school and purchase in 2015 Lincoln Navigator. Well, Lincoln Navigators, that's a pretty nice vehicle. If you're fresh out of high school, you probably don't have the financial means to purchase a Lincoln Navigator. What does that look like in terms of these components? One of the things I didn't include here now that I look at it is what does it look like if you get a loan? The loan part is not attached to this. I just looked at it and said, what's the total price of the car? The warranty and the tax. So these are all things, and again, this is just a basic model. You can repurpose this any which way you'd like if I to use this, but this is just to give you an idea as to what my students need to do come up with. Next was the financial institution, either a credit union or a bank. So what does APR mean, Mr. Jimenez? So we talked about APR, we talked about interest rates, we talked about credit, we talked about compound interest, all the things that aren't necessarily taught at the high school that students need to be successful. But this was a great opportunity to have these discussions once the curriculum portion of the portion was complete. In me teaching U.S. history, we had already discussed the FDIC, the FDIC in terms of Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, brought about after the Great Depression, one of the New Deal programs put in place by President Roosevelt. About what that looked like is if the account is not FDIC, is that a place that you want to hold your money, We talked about various investment tools and plans. Not part of this project per se, but again, just giving you some ideas that you can further your conversations with your students should you decide to do so. The apartment complex. This is where a lot of students this is where it's a little hit or miss. Some students, 50%, I would say, I'm going to stay home for college. I'm going to stay home to, keep going to work, keep going to school, but living at home with mom and dad or with their caregiver. Many students were saying, nope, the minute I graduate high school, I am beelining for the door and I am going to get an apartment. So that was the reason why I added this feature. Is your student going to a one or bedroom? Do they have a window? If they do, what does that look like in terms of splitting the bill, splitting the cost of, for example, utilities? That topic alone, utilities, was something that students didn't realize, that sometimes utilities are not included in the cost of rent. Sometimes trash pickup or cable is not included in the rent. Again, this is 2015. Cable was a thing back in 2015. 2019, we understand now a lot of people have cut the cable, cut the wire, so to speak. I know I have. So again, adapting this and making this make sense for your kids in the here and now. If you decide to use this, you can add it however you'd like to do it. But again, this was all done in the context of having students make more sense of awareness as to what it is that they're going to need to negotiate to be successful as an adult after this high school. So that's really in what this project was. All right, they came together, they did an activity, they were able to glean information from it. They were able to have many discussions with their peers after the presentations were over, and I myself, I got my experiences after high school, which again, is a great way to obviously build relationships with students. So at the end of the year, I still have some students that still ask for advice on various topics related to this project that they remember. So the value, if you will, is there if you decide to use a project like this for your kids. It's going to become for future, for instance, anything like that. But at the same time, it allows you to keep in contact with them, allows you to contact with their milestones. And it just ended up being a very positive, overall positive project for kids to learn from. I know actually in 2015, completely different than when I grew up in the late 90s. So it was a learning experience for all. Great relationship building for students, and also with these institutions, the banks, the apartment complexes, and with the car dealerships. It allowed us to have new revenue streams, so to speak, with our new partners in ed. And again, it allows us to continue working with our students well past the time that they were with us in our classrooms. So again, if you want to use this project, if you want to adapt this and make this, personalize this for your kids in your area, wherever you may be, wherever you're watching this video from, by all means do so. I hope this video has given you some ideas. It's something that I know I will be introducing again here pretty shortly. I hope you enjoy this video. Again, my name is Jason Jimenez, Assistant Principal in Orange County Public Schools. Until next time.